Part 74. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 731. Zuyun was stunned. Of course he knew what ambergris was. Isn't this the dragon's saliva? It's just that people only hear the name of this thing, not the actual thing. And the reason why he was stunned was that there happened to be a dragon in the immortal mansion? It's a little too small, isn't it difficult to spit some saliva? But the owner of the valley thought that Zuyun was being stumped, so he couldn't help but waved his hand and issued an eviction order. Boy, where did you come from? Go back to where you came from. Ambergris is rare. Senior, Zuyun came back to his senses and said quickly, isn't it just ambergris? Go get it now, kid. At this time, Yao Wang was also stunned. Boy, the ambergris I'm talking about is not the kind of ambergris mentioned in the mortal world, but the saliva of the dragon clan. At least, it must have a body in the shape of a dragon, with the saliva of a monster with pure dragon bloodline. Senior, don't worry, please take care of my friend. I'll come as soon as you go. With that said, Zuyun was about to rush back along the cave from which he came, but when he approached the entrance of the cave, he stopped again. It seemed a little inappropriate to leave Xiu here like this, so he simply took out the jade box containing the elixir and stuffed it into Gu Zhong's hand. Huh. The jade box has not been opened, but the owner of the valley has been dealing with elixirs all year round, and his perception of elixirs is extremely sensitive. He immediately discovered that the elixir contained in this jade box was extremely old. Just when he opened the jade box and took a look, Zuyun said a word and left the place. Senior, these elixirs are given to you. The valley master didn't listen to these words at all, but stared blankly at the elixir in his hand, with a confused look on his face. This is just an ordinary elixir. Generally speaking, even dogs don't like it. But unfortunately, this is at least 300 years old. He really wanted to ask Zuyun where he got this elixir. The monks in the Peeper realm are all restless. Who can spend 300 years cultivating these? When he came back to his senses, he had already discovered that Zuyun had left Yaoang Valley. This kid is interesting. He put away the jade box with a smile on his lips, but when his eyes fell on Xiu, his expression became serious again. Yao has practiced medicine for exactly 1,000 years, not to mention the flesh and bones of the living dead, but none of the people he saved died. Little guy, if you really have ambergris, and Yao saves this girl's life, you can also let Yao do medicine go to the next level. But if there is no ambergris, she will be the first person to die under my rule. Oh, what a dilemma. While the valley master was muttering to himself, another person suddenly appeared from the cave entrance. Senior brother, that boy is gone. It was the old man guarding under the boulder. The valley master raised his head and said, Junior brother, do you think senior brother should save this demon cultivator? Please give me some advice. The old man didn't even think about it and said, according to me, I will definitely not be able to save you. But senior brother, this demon cultivator is quite handsome. Even at my age, junior brother, I can't help but take another look at her. If you are greedy for her body, but it can be saved. The owner of the valley immediately said angrily, you are not serious. You are so young, and I, my senior brother, am not so young? Senior brother, I have been addicted to medicine all my life, and I have used medicine to conceive babies. It is my Taoist heart to save lives and heal the wounded. But I am worrying that I can't save her will ruin my obsession. Brother, are you afraid you can't save her? The old man was slightly startled, and then said, since we can't save you, then we won't save you. Senior brother, you have been treating illnesses for thousands of years and have never made a mistake. How can you let a demon cultivator destroy you? The valley master sighed and said, demon cultivators are also human beings, and they are born as human beings. Why not save her? It's not that I don't want to save her because she is a demon cultivator, but I'm afraid that kid won't be able to get what I want. The main medicine. The old man stared, as if he had seen a ghost. The Valley Master looked at it and asked doubtfully, why, is it weird to save a demon cultivator? No, no. The old man shook his head quickly and said in shock, that boy also told me this before. He said that demon cultivators are also human beings. Why can't they be cured? Oh. Gu Zhong's eyes lit up and he actually showed joy, saying, that boy would actually say such a thing. Senior brother, how could I lie to you? When I heard this, I gave him 3 breaths to get back. Unexpectedly, just 1 breath later, the boy claimed to be Feng Qingyang, and he was using the power of wind spirit. He took out old man Feng's heavenly painting scroll, so I let him in. Unexpectedly, this kid turned out not to be one. This kid. Gu Zhong looked at the cave, maybe in his eyes, there is no distinction between good and evil. Just like in the eyes of doctors, there is no distinction between men and women. The old man was confused and said, brother, what do you want to say? Gu Zhong took a step forward, knelt down, and picked up Xiu'er, and said with a smile, he is the same person as me, with good intentions. After that, he turned and left. Junior brother, if he comes again, you will personally bring him to my pharmacy. The old man didn't understand why his senior brother, the Valley Master, had become a little different. After scratching his head, he passed through the cave again and returned to the place he was guarding. And at this time, Zuyun returned to the position where he originally set up the formation. Ambergris is going to the Immortal Mansion, and if he goes back too soon, it will inevitably make people suspicious. Reactivating the formation, Zuyun entered the Immortal Mansion. After coming out of the cave, he went straight to the ranch house, took the dragon whip and stuck it in his waist, and then he arrived at the Hualong Pond. Son, come out quickly, Daddy is calling you. Zuyun reached out and patted the water of Hualong Pond. After a moment, the little black dragon's head popped up. Zuyun took a closer look and saw how much time had passed. His head seemed to have grown a lot bigger. Marvelous. The thicker you are, the more saliva you will spit out later, right? Dad, I didn't make any trouble. I have been studying obediently. Study. Zuyun was confused, what the hell are you studying? You are the only one in the whole pool. Inheritance in the bloodline, the dragon clan inherits some dragon clan spells through the bloodline. Xiao He stared at the dragon whip in Zuyun's waist and said cautiously. So that's it. Zuyun suddenly realized that, not to mention the dragon clan, some of the magic skills that monsters were born with were inherited. He smiled and waved and said, come here and show me how much you have grown. Xiao He was doubtful and slowly swam over, but Zuyun's hands were very fast and he fished him up. Dad, what are you doing? Feeling a strong force grabbing him, Xiao He screamed in fear, his mind filled with the word Zuyun had threatened him, stew. Xiao He, Dad is encountering something now, and you are the only one who can help me. So, will you help, or not? Zuyun said with a smirk on his face, holding Xiao He's body that had grown to the thickness of 2 fingers in his left hand. Help, help. Dad, what do you want me to help you with? Zuyun took out an unused porcelain bottle from his arms and put it on Xiao He's head. I want your saliva, spit it out for me. Xiao He's expression suddenly relaxed and he quickly said, this is easy to handle. Dad, don't use too much force with your hands, or I won't be able to spit it out. Okay, spit out a bottle for me. With that said, Zuyun relaxed a little. He did feel that Xiao He's muscles were tense, as if he was scared. No wonder it feels hard to the touch. While talking, Xiao He had already vomited half a bottle of saliva, but he was still a young dragon after all, so it would be difficult for him to vomit again. Xiao He, come on, there's still a long way to go. Zuyun picked up the porcelain bottle and took a look. He didn't know how much ambergris he would need, but a little more would be a good idea, just in case. Dad, wait a minute, I'll make some preparations. Xiao He's dantian was filled with anger. Oh, vomit. But my mouth was really dry, and I could only spit out a little bit of saliva after brewing, not even half a bottle, which was far from enough. Xiao He, you can't do this. Zuyun frowned and said. Dad, I tried my best, Xiao He cried. He had obviously reached his limit, but it was more than half short of Zuyun's goal. Feeling the dragon whip on his waist, he felt a deep fear in his bones, fearing that Zuyun would be dissatisfied and whip him. No rush, Zuyun quickly comforted and said, don't be nervous, it's okay. Dad will give you a massage. Just relax and let it brew for a while. Zuyun did as he said, placing the porcelain bottle beside the dragon transformation pond, then holding the dragon's tail in his left hand, and holding it under the dragon's neck with his right hand, rubbing it slowly back and forth along the short and thin body of the dragon. His gentle force and the use of water spiritual power actually made Xiao He feel comfortable all over. Moisturized by the water spirit power, Xiao He gradually found the feeling and began to secrete saliva in his mouth. But he was greedy for enjoyment, thinking that if he spit it out, Zuyun might stop the massage, so he endured it until the saliva could no longer be contained, and then he hurriedly said, Dad, hurry up, I can't bear it anymore. When Zuyun heard this, he quickly pointed Xiao He's head at the porcelain bottle. Zi la. A water arrow immediately shot into the porcelain bottle. Zuyun was overjoyed. He leaned his head over and found that the porcelain bottle was almost full. He subconsciously began to squeeze it hard with his right hand, as if he was squeezing juice from some plant roots when he was a child. Sure enough, after Zuyun's operation, Xiao He rolled his eyes, but finally filled the porcelain bottle. Xiao He, you performed well. Zuyungzi smiled widely and threw Xiao He back to the Hualong pond. But Xiao He was exhausted by Zuyun's torture, and floated limply on the Hualong pond, unable to raise his head for a long time. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 732. After taking the ambergris, Zuyun returned along the original route. With the instructions of the Valley Master, the old man guarding the entrance of the cave took him directly to the pharmacy. Brother, the person is here. The old man informed him and left in person. Zuyun looked carefully. The house was antique and had a long history. It looked a bit like an alchemy room, but it lacked an alchemy furnace. Little guy, what are you looking at? The Valley Master interrupted Zuyun's thoughts softly. Seeing him looking at him, the Valley Master continued, you have only been gone for a while, and you have brought the ambergris. Zuyun did not waste words and took out the porcelain bottle directly from his arms. Senior, take a look, is this ambergris? The Valley Master took it, but did not open it immediately. Instead, he turned his head and looked at Chiu lying on the bed. Senior. Zuyun was a little confused. Didn't you say that this was the only main ingredient missing? I spent a lot of effort to get it. My hands were almost blistered. Now that I have it, why don't you test it? Little guy, in your eyes, what kind of existence is a demon cultivator? The Valley Master's sudden question stunned Zuyun. After a while, he came back to his senses and asked back, Senior, are you not going to treat illnesses? Treat, the Valley Master smiled and said, you should know that the female cultivator you brought is a demon cultivator. If I guess correctly, she is a demon cultivator from Yasha realm. Not bad, Senior has good eyesight. Zuyun nodded, still confused in his heart, why do you have to ask where people come from to treat illnesses? Little guy, I said you questioned my junior brother and said that demon cultivators are also human beings, so why can't they be treated? I just want to know, what do you think of demon cultivators? This time, Zuyun understood, but his expression was a little ugly. I thought that after I brought the ambergris, the master would start to treat Xiu'er, but at this time, he looked so mysterious. Are you trying to keep me in suspense? But people are under the eaves, and they need help from others, so Zuyun had to bow his head. Senior, demon cultivators are also human beings. How are they different from righteous cultivators? It's just that the cultivation methods and ways are different. Let me ask you, if a demon cultivator who loves charity and a righteous cultivator who has done something harmful to the world fall into the river at the same time, who would you save? The master of the valley laughed. In Zuyun's question, he had verified what he thought in his heart and pulled out the stopper of the porcelain bottle. A strange fragrance came out, but the laughter stopped abruptly and turned into a scream. This is pure ambergris. Looking at the startled master of the valley, Zuyun curled his lips and thought to himself that it was a fuss. This is a dragon from the dragon pool. The saliva spit out of its mouth must be pure. However, from what the valley master said, it seemed that he had also seen ambergris. Suddenly, Zuyun was also shocked. Senior, how do you know that this is pure ambergris? The valley master took a deep breath and put the cork back in, but a look of reminiscence appeared on his face. Little guy, where did your ambergris come from? Zuyun certainly couldn't tell the truth and say that I raised a dragon. On the way here, he had already thought of an excuse, so he said, this kid bought it from Immortal in the sea area. At that time, he said it was some kind of divine water. I saw that the smell was unique and contained an unknown power, so I spent a spirit stone to buy it. A spirit stone? Suddenly, the valley master's forehead was blue. I don't know if he believed Zuyun's nonsense. Sea area, in our mortal world, only Dongsheng realm and Yao realm are close to the sea, so you kid, are you from Yao realm? Zuyun was speechless. You are curing a disease, saving a person, why are you checking me? But there was no other way, so Zuyun had to say, I was originally an ordinary mortal in Yao realm. I embarked on the immortal path by chance and met him while training in the Savage Sea. He couldn't possibly say that he was from Dongsheng realm, because that was the territory of demon cultivators. He was not familiar with it at all, how could he deceive the valley master? Yao realm, are there any cultivators there? The valley master sighed and said, I thought you were from Dongsheng realm. Zuyun was stunned and asked curiously, Valley master, Dongsheng realm is full of demon cultivators. Can humans cultivate there? Why not? The valley master was surprised and said, humans are the spirits of all things. They can survive anywhere. It's just a matter of whether it's easy or not. I went to Dongsheng realm and got a lot of good things there. Hearing this, Zuyun suddenly remembered his previous doubts and asked in surprise, so, senior, have you seen ambergris in Dongsheng realm? Yes. The valley master did not hide it and looked at Zuyun and said, otherwise, how would I know that ambergris can save your friend? Zuyun said in surprise, didn't I hear that the dragon clan of the 12 demon clans in Dongsheng realm has long disappeared? Why can you still see ambergris? According to Lao Jin and Lao Ma, their ancestors have never seen dragons for several generations. No matter how old the valley master is, he can't have seen it in Dongsheng realm, right? It's just ambergris, not the dragon race. The valley master looked at Zuyun in surprise, raised his eyebrows and said, you, a young cultivator in Yao realm, actually know that there are no dragon races in Dongsheng realm. It's really not simple. This. Zuyun touched the back of his head and laughed, senior, I like reading since I was young, and I have read a lot of books. The valley master did not comment, turned around and walked to Xiu'er, took out the ambergris, and said, Dongsheng realm is a good place, but now, I don't know. I went there 1,000 years ago, and the intelligence of the demon cultivators there is far beyond our imagination, especially the 11 major demon tribes. Hearing this news, Zuyun felt a little embarrassed in his heart. It's a pity that he had thought that those who are not of my race must have different hearts, and the demon tribe will attack during the war between the two realms. But who knows, the Valley Master changed the subject and said, it's just that there are also unstable factors on the demon tribe side. I traveled to the territories of the 11 tribes, and every demon king told me to be careful of the nightmare monster. Nightmare monster. This is the first time Zuyun heard the name of this monster. Nightmare monster, also known as the 7 sin monster. Little guy, do you know that people have 7 deadly sins? Zuyun nodded. That demon has all 7 types. They act as they please. They are the nightmare of all demon cultivators in Dongsheng realm. Speaking of this, the Valley Master couldn't help but tremble. Zuyun was shocked. Just by mentioning this name, an old senior at the peak of the late nascent soul stage was frightened like this. Could it be that this nightmare demon is really that powerful? Senior, have you seen a nightmare demon? Zuyun asked hurriedly, thinking in his heart that now that he has found out clearly, he will stay away from it if he encounters it in the future. Even if I have seen it, I can't recognize it. The Valley Master sighed and said, the nightmare demon is not like ordinary demon cultivators. They need to reach the level of demon king to transform into a human form. Since birth, the nightmare demon can transform into a human. He can even practice human skills. You know, demon cultivators can only be the same as humans when they reach the level of demon saint. Zuyun was puzzled and said, even if the nightmare demon is so unique, in the mortal world, it is limited by the way of heaven. The strongest demon cultivator is only at the level of demon king. Can't the other demon clans join forces to eradicate the nightmare demon? Little guy, you underestimate the nightmare demon. The Valley Master shook his head and said, do you know why the 12 major demon clans, the Dragon Clan, are missing? That's what the nightmare demon did. What? Zuyun was shocked and couldn't believe it. The absence of the Dragon Clan is related to the nightmare demon? How is this possible? One of the 7 deadly sins is jealousy. The nightmare demon was jealous of the Dragon Clan for being the leader of all monsters, so he used means to cause internal fighting among the Dragon Clan, resulting in heavy casualties. Even their clan leader died in the internal fighting, which made all the clan members wake up. Under the leadership of the new clan leader, they paid a huge price and forced their way into the spiritual world passage, and went to the spiritual world to lie dormant. It's still jealousy. The nightmare demon was jealous of the handsome and tall male cultivators and the stunning female cultivators after the 9-tailed fox transformed into human form, so he drove them out of Dongsheng realm directly. It's still jealousy. They were jealous of the unparalleled strategies of the Pig Demon clan, and they were also afraid that the Pig Demon clan would take the lead in uniting all the monster clans to wipe them out, so they drugged them, causing the Pig Demon clan to be affected by the poison for generations, and their intelligence was much worse than before. There are countless such examples. Hearing this, Zuyun was stunned. Just jealousy killed so many monsters. What's more terrifying is that even the Dragon Clan can be designed to leave Dongsheng realm. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 733. While Zuyun was still in shock, the Valley Master suddenly interrupted him again with a "Okay. So fast." He recovered his thoughts and looked at Xiu. Her beautiful face was wet. It looked like the owner of the valley poured a whole bottle of ambergris up. I've repaired her heart pulse and repaired her wounds. Before you came, I only needed a bottle of ambergris to expel the demonic sword energy from her body. That's why it was so fast. The Valley Master said expressionlessly. Maybe the mention of the nightmare demon reminded him of some unpleasant past experiences. Then when will you wake up? Zuyun felt happy and asked expectantly. I don't know about that. It depends on her own destiny. The firmer her mind is, the faster she will wake up. However, I believe it won't take long. This ambergris is so pure that it may be able to reduce the influence of her mind to lowest. The Valley Master said, throwing the porcelain bottle back to Zuyun. Zuyun hurriedly took it and saw that Xiu'er's breath gradually stabilized and was much stronger than when he brought it before. He also breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that when he went to get the ambergris, the Valley Master was indeed there. After it was cured, I suddenly felt grateful again. Thank you, Senior. It's okay. It's the responsibility of a doctor to save lives and heal the wounded. I'm practicing medicine, that's how it should be. The Valley Master first waved his hand, then took out the jade box given by Zuyun from his arms, and said, but, I still have a question, where did you get so many ordinary elixirs that are more than 300 years old? Zuyun said casually, Senior, I picked this from Yunzhou in the Yao realm. There are few monks there, and in some inaccessible places, there will naturally be elixirs that can be easily preserved. Is it really the Yao realm? The Valley Master's words made Zuyun dumbfounded. Senior, I have never been to Dongsheng realm. It would be great if you came back from Dongsheng realm. Hey, I want to go to Dongsheng realm again in this life. Seeing what the Valley Master said, Zuyun asked curiously, Senior, you saved Xiu'er's life. If nothing happens to me, I can go to Dongsheng realm and help you with things to thank you for saving your life. He is still thinking about the demon refining tower. If this matter is resolved, he can go to Dongsheng realm to take a look. After all, he has not yet reached the nascent soul stage, but he can pass through the Dongsheng realm without being restricted by the barrier. Little guy, aren't you afraid of meeting the nightmare? The Valley Master was stunned. He had just mentioned the horror of the nightmare demon before, but later he actually dared to mention going to Dongsheng realm. I really don't know how to write the word death, or do I still not take the nightmare demon seriously? Zuyun didn't care and said, Senior, Dongsheng realm is bigger than Peeper realm and Yusha realm combined, right? Since it is so big, how could we meet the nightmare demon by such a coincidence? Besides, nightmare demon is not good at fighting and only plays some games. Conspiracy, what am I afraid of him for? This is Zuyun's confidence in his own strength. To be able to escape from the nascent soul stage with so many silver swords and demon swords, as long as he is fully prepared, even if he encounters a nightmare demon at the peak of the Demon King, he will still be able to deal with it. For example, the two Demon Kings and the Demon Saint. There are also Ancestral Tree and Muling Sacred Mountain. If that doesn't work, I'll still have the Dragon Whip. I won't give you a chance to speak, I'll just beat you to death. Of course, it was impossible to say this to the valley owner. Zuyun was afraid that the valley owner would say that he was bragging. You really dare to go? The Valley Master's eyes flickered, and there was some joy in his tone. If the Valley Master needs it, I'm willing to go there. However, it will still take some time. I still have important things to do. The Valley Master laughed and said, You kid, you are only in the pill formation stage, what else is important? Let me tell you, if I, the Medicine King Valley, can help, I will help you do it, and then let you set off to the East Victory Realm early. Such a result was something Zuyun did not expect. Originally, he didn't expect to win over the forces in the Peeper Realm to deal with the evil thoughts and Zufeng in the Demon Refining Tower, so he found a way in the Yusha Realm. But since the Valley Master has taken the initiative, he only needs to go to Dongsheng Realm. This is a good deal. But, do you want to tell the truth? Zuyun suddenly became a little confused. Why, do you still have something to hide? As he said that, the Valley Master looked at Zuyun's lower body with a serious look, and then said in surprise, "Good boy, you have a great appearance, and at your age, it is enough to show that you have extraordinary talent even at the stage of forming pills. And you desperately carried a stunning female cultivator to seek medical treatment, but you are still a child." Zuyun's face turned green when he heard this. "You're so good, if you didn't say this, I would still respect you as an elder. Little guy, there is no need to be shy in front of the doctor. I'm here to help you check your pulse to see if you have kidney deficiency, so you can't be humane." As he spoke, the Valley Master's withered right hand suddenly glowed with a white light. The speed was so fast that Zuyun had no way to react. This was the peak of the late nascent soul. At such a close distance, he couldn't do anything at all, so he was caught on the pulse by the Valley Master. "Senior, I'm not sick." Zuyun found that he couldn't break free at all. The Valley Master's hands were as strong as iron claws. "Hey, I've seen too many sick people say that they are no longer sick. Little guy, you are young and strong, it's hard to say, but I have a good medicine, I guarantee that the medicine will cure the disease, huh?" The more Zuyun resisted, the more excited the Valley Master became. Just as he was speaking, he suddenly let out a startled scream. This reaction made Zuyun's heart skip a beat. "Wasn't it? Am I really sick? That's not right, your kidneys are very full." Zuyun was stunned for a moment, and then heard the Valley Master say, "That's not right, little guy, you are very angry, but it shows that your temper is not bad either. Wait, your liver." From the kidneys to the heart, and then from the heart to the liver, Zuyun suddenly understood the key. These three internal organs are all embedded in spirit beads. However, the Valley Master didn't seem to notice. That should be the spirit bead really integrated with the three internal organs. At this time, the Valley Master let go of his hand with confusion on his face and said, "Little guy, the 5 elements in your body are out of balance." But according to common sense, people in this situation can see it from their complexions. It's strange. Zuyun's heart moved and he asked tentatively, "Senior, you only talked about my heart, liver, and kidneys. What about the other 2 internal organs? What can you say?" Generally speaking, when the 5 elements are out of balance, some internal organs are normal and some are weak. But in your case, 3 internal organs are too strong and 2 internal organs are normal. Strange, strange, why is this like this? Why can your pulse still be normal? So stable? The Valley Master was puzzled, but Zuyun was even more sure. He originally had the 5 elements spiritual root, and he also practiced the 5 elements Chaos Sutra. The purpose of this exercise is the word wait. Even if the other 3 internal organs are fused with spirit beads, which are far superior to the other 2 internal organs, they can still ensure a balance among the chaos power in the body. And there is also a sentence mentioned in the 5 Elements Chaos Sutra, that is the 5 elements and 5 internal organs. In other words, improving the 5 internal organs is also a part of the practice of Kung Fu. Only, there is no mention of how to practice in the exercises. Could it be that it is the progress after nascent soul? Or should we say, the divine transformation stage? Then, Senior, is there any way I can make the other 2 Zhangs reach the extreme level of these 3 Zhangs? Zuyunqiang calmed down and asked casually, who would have thought that the Valley Master said something shocking? Dongsheng Realm, the ancestral land of the Dragon Clan, where the Earth's spiritual power is particularly strong. It just so happens that what I want you to do is also in the Dragon Clan's ancestral land. Perhaps, you can look for the treasure of the Earth element by the way. You may not be sure. You are useful. Zuyun's eyes suddenly widened. It seems that Dongshenjing is a must-see. What if it is the Earth Spirit Pearl? By the way, Senior, What you want me to do is to go to the ancestral land of the Dragon Clan. Haven't all the Dragon Clan left? Zuyun asked calmly. Back then, after I visited the territory of the 11 clans, I wanted to visit the ancestral land of the Dragon Clan. Who would have thought that I would leave a medical book behind? Senior, do you want to retrieve the medical book? Zuyun thought to himself, finding things is not easy. I don't know how big the Dragon Clan's ancestral land is. But obviously it won't be small. Yes, the medical book is my certificate as the Valley Master of the Medicine King Valley. I want to step down as the Valley Master and try my luck in the spiritual world. But without the medical book, I can't step down. That's why, little guy, I am willing. Help you get things done as soon as possible so that you can go to Dongsheng realm. And you are in good health, so can you tell me what else you want to do? Zuyun hesitated for a long time and then said, I wonder, Senior Valley Master, have you ever heard of the Demon Refining Tower? After the words fell, the Valley Master's pupils suddenly shrank. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 734. Isn't the Demon Refining Tower in Chuzhu, Yao realm? It is said that the evil thoughts of the demon saint are suppressed in it. Zuyun was also surprised by the Valley Master's words. It can be said that this is the person who knows the most among the people he has met. Senior, how do you know so clearly? Zuyun asked quickly. I've been to Dongsheng realm, of course I know. The Valley Master said seriously, I have traveled to the territory of the 12 demon clans. Except for the Dragon Clan, all the other demon emperors have talked about this tower. I see. Zuyun asked, Senior, you went to the Dragon Clan's ancestral land because you wanted to find the Dragon Clan. That's more or less it, the Valley Master said. At that time, I already knew that the Dragon Clan was gone, but it was said that there were statues of the 12 demon clan in the Demon Refining Tower. I was curious as to how the Dragon Clan's statues were made, so I wanted to go. I went to the Dragon Clan's ancestral land to find out. In the end, I left the medical book. I also found a bottle of ambergris in the Dragon Clan's ancestral land, but it has become ineffective after a long time. Having said this, the Valley Master felt regretful again. Tell me, what happened to the Demon Refining Tower? Zuyun said in a deep voice, the Demon Refining Tower was refined, and the evil thoughts were released. Now, the Demon Refining Tower is in the Yasha realm. What? Upon hearing such news, the Valley Master stood up suddenly, and the spiritual power in his body burst out completely uncontrollably. Having been to Dongsheng realm, he knows even more about the horror of the Demon Refining Tower. How so? He asked in alarm. How do I know? Zuyun also smiled bitterly and said, it should have been a certain monk in the Peepa realm who wanted to refine the Demon Refining Tower into his own magic weapon. Then by chance, the Demon Refining Tower was used by a person who practiced the demon devouring art. The refining was successful, but it is very likely that the evil spirit of the demon saint did it on purpose. Devouring demonic skill. The Valley Master took a deep breath and said, the devouring demon technique is extremely compatible with the Demon Refining Tower. How could this be the case? Senior, to tell you the truth, now I have asked Yalogo demon sect to kill the tower owner of the Demon Refining Tower. Perhaps in this way, the demon saint's evil thoughts will not be able to seize his body and escape from the Demon Refining Tower. Yalogo demon section. The Valley Master glanced at Jiu'er, who was still sleeping, and said, is this girl also from the Yalogo demon sect? Exactly. Does Senior also know about Yalogo demon sect? I know a little bit. The Yalogo demon sect is all female cultivators, and their behavior is different from ordinary demon sections, but I have to say that it is much better than some sects in the Peepa realm. But, they are relatively indecisive. Maybe if it doesn't happen, that's all. Since I promised you, I'll bring people over to help. Suddenly, the Valley Master stood up, his eyes gleaming, and he took out a jade talisman from his arms. "Junior brother, ring the bell 3 times. A moment later, loud bells rang out from the valley, 3 times in succession. In the entire Medicine King Valley, all the disciples gathered in an open space. They whispered, not knowing why. Even the nascent soul stage people didn't know what was going on. 3 bells ring, which represents the most urgent matter and requires the entire valley to be dispatched. Little guy, you stay here, I'll call you to lead the way again later. Senior, please." Zuyun also knew that the situation was urgent and said immediately. After watching the Valley Master leave, Zuyun looked at Xiu'er on the bed. While he was talking to the Valley Master, Xiu'er's expression improved a lot. "I just don't know when I will wake up. But she finally saved her life. I don't know if it will have any impact on her future cultivation." Zuyun murmured and sat on the edge of the bed, thinking of Zufeng in his heart. So many times, I couldn't kill him by myself. And this time, with the combined efforts of the 2 sects, it's impossible for you to escape, right? An hour later, Zuyun stood on a huge flying boat. Beside him were the Valley Master and a group of nascent souls. "Senior, do you really think you won't leave anyone behind?" The flying boat was so big that it could fit the entire Yaoang Valley inside. In order to allow Zuyun to lead the way with peace of mind, the Valley Master specially arranged for 2 ordinary disciples to look after Xiu'er. "Others don't know, but I know. If the evil thoughts of the demon saint are really resurrected, then he holds the demon refining tower. Not only will the human race suffer, but even the Eastern Sheng realm may not be able to live in peace. I remember, I told you about the demon refining tower. The tower is very compatible with the devouring demon technique, right?" "Yes." Zuyun nodded quickly, and understood in his heart why Zufeng's cultivation progressed so quickly without any side effects. It turned out to be the evil thoughts of the demon saint. In the demon refining tower, the first 8 floors are equivalent to 8 worlds, and can accommodate countless living beings, whether they are humans or demons. Originally, the demon refining tower could borrow the power of the monsters in the Beifang world to suppress evil thoughts. But evil thoughts, now that some action has been taken, it is very likely that these 8 levels will become a place where demon saints and evil thoughts trap creatures. Captivity. Zuyun didn't understand the meaning for a while. That's right, it's the circle. Once the evil thoughts of the demon saint gain control of the demon refining tower, he will be controlled by the way of heaven. His power level cannot return to the peak, but he can raise the creatures. When needed, he can immediately go through the demon refining tower. The tower draws power for its own use. In other words, as long as there are enough creatures in the tower, the power of the demon saint's evil thoughts is endless. Who in the mortal world can conquer him? This time, Zuyun understood. It's like he has a spiritual stone on him. As long as his spiritual power is not enough, he can use the spiritual stone to restore it. But in comparison, the demon refining tower can instantly transform a living being into his power, which is incomparable to the spiritual stone. Even Zufeng's devouring magic power is faster than his recovery with the spiritual stone, not to mention the higher level of the demon refining tower. So, little guy, if the evil thoughts of the demon saint really succeed, is there any meaning for my disciples to stay in the Medicine King Valley? This question left Zuyun speechless. At the same time, he was very glad that he came to the right Medicine King Valley. Do they know what they are going to do? Zuyun looked back and saw that on the deck of the flying boat, the younger monks were busy with their duties, and they didn't know what they were going to do. No, and there is no need to say it. The Valley Master shook his head and said, when the time comes, we will only need those in the nascent soul stage to take action. If they come and are sucked into the demon refining tower, they will not only be useless, but will instead help to increase the power of the demon saint's evil thoughts. Zuyun was silent. This was ruthless, but it made sense. The flying boat flew for a day and a night. Finally, they arrived at the border between the two realms. As long as they fly up the cliff, they can see the demon moon forest. Zuyun's heart can't help but become a little nervous. Little guy, you have to be a good guide next. I have never been to Yasha realm. The Valley Master's face gradually became solemn, and the rest of the nascent soul stage were the same. Don't worry, senior, just fly all the way up, stop the flying boat when you reach the cliff, and the demon moon forest is on the edge of the cliff. Zuyun said immediately. The flying boat went into the fog and flew for a while. When they came out of the fog again, they had already seen the top of the cliff. We're here. Zuyun's eyes condensed and looked straight ahead. The extremely dark demon refining tower towered high in the forest. The black air was entangled, and it seemed to be a little thicker than before he left. Demon refining tower. The Valley Master took a look from a distance and immediately ordered, "Junior brothers, follow me to get off the boat." "Yes, senior brother." More than 10 people at the peak of the late nascent soul stage jumped down, and when they landed, they had already taken out their spiritual weapons. All kinds of objects that can be used in medicine. "Little guy, lead the way." The Valley Master waved his hand at Zuyun and said, "Senior, I want to take Xiu'er with me." Originally, Zuyun didn't plan to take her. After all, it was really inconvenient to take Xiu'er who was unconscious. But there was no movement in the demon moon forest. Could it be that there was some accident in the Yalogo demon sect? He didn't dare to think about it. Maybe it was just that Luo Yanran and the others couldn't find a way and were at a loss. If in this case, bringing Xiu'er back might boost their morale. "If you want to take her, then take her." The Valley Master waved his hand, and Xiu'er flew out of thin air from a cabin and landed in front of Zuyun. Zuyun quickly reached out and hugged her, then he jumped up and rushed to the front. He remembered the location of the demon refining tower very clearly. "It's just that I haven't seen her for a few days, I don't know how it has changed now." Holding Xiu'er in his arms, Zuyun stepped into the forest. But in an instant, he found something wrong. When he was about to remind everyone behind him to be careful, it was too late. Countless ancient trees flashed black lines, and the demon moon forest turned into a formation forest that could only be entered but not exited. A forest full of trapped formations. Those black lines were formation patterns. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 735. There is a formation. The Valley Master screamed in surprise. Not only him, but the rest of the nascent soul stage also recognized the situation at this time. They don't understand the formation, but that doesn't mean they can't see the formation. However, the black formations were even more weird and made them feel a little uncomfortable for a while. Zuyun, on the other hand, was staring at the formations that were constantly entwining among the trees, his expression extremely solemn. Zhu Feng understands formations, but he only knows the 9 turns and 9 suns formation, and it is impossible to set up such a complicated formation. 1 tree for 1 formation, 1 forest for 10,000 formations. Zuyun murmured, shocking all the nascent souls. The Valley Master frowned and said, "Little guy, do you know formations? Understand a little." Zuyun said, "Senior, it seems that the demon refining tower may have become different, we have to be more careful." "No need to remind you," the Valley Master stretched out his hand, took out a silver needle, and swung it in front of him, "Needle guide." As he finished speaking, the silver needle glowed with white brilliance, which was exactly the same as the one he had previously released through Zuyun's pulse. Obviously, this is the medical spiritual power cultivated by the Valley Master. The silver needle shot out, dragging a long white tail of light. But soon, after the silver needle flew deep into the forest, the brilliance disappeared. "Something is wrong." Zuyun murmured. He had already seen that this formation was no ordinary trap formation. In such a dark environment, as long as there is a little light, it will be particularly obvious. But the silver needle didn't fly very far, but no light could be seen. This shows that this trap also has the effect of blinding the eyes. Seniors, this formation is mysterious, don't leave too far, otherwise you will easily get lost. Zuyun walked to a tree, gently put Xiu'er down, and then took out a bundle of rope as thick as his thumb. Little guy, this rope. The owner of the valley was very puzzled. The rope looked old, but strangely, there was no spiritual power on it. Instead, there were some fine hairs hanging between the knots, like those of a wild boar. This formation was strange, like the silver needles of my predecessors all disappearing without a trace. The boy concluded that this formation might affect the operation of spiritual power. This bundle of rope was used by his father to tie up wild boars when the boy was still a mortal. Not easy to break. If we are tied together, we won't get separated. With that said, Zuyun ignored the dark faces of these nascent souls, untied the rope, and wrapped it around everyone's waist one by one. Not to mention those who tied up wild boars, even those who tied up a monk who was in the alchemy stage felt as if they were insulted. But there is no way. Among so many people, only Zuyun knew something about the trap formation. Fortunately, the Valley Master is here, and the others can only swallow it if they find it interesting. After everyone was tied up, the Valley Master realized that Zuyun had not tied him up. He couldn't help but be stunned and said, "Little guy, aren't you afraid of being fascinated by the formation?" Zuyun smiled and said, "Senior, it's not that I'm not afraid, but if I were tied up too, it might not be that convenient to break the formation." After saying that, he looked at Xiu'er again and said, "Senior, you stay here for now. I need to trouble you to look after Xiu'er. Come back as soon as you go. Little guy, be careful." The Valley Master had no choice but to give this order. They came here to solve the demon refining tower, so they couldn't possibly be trapped here forever, right? There is no road in the forest, but when there are more people walking, there is a road. Zuyun followed the traces on the ground, and instead of using chaotic spiritual power, he used ordinary longevity skills and ran quickly towards the forest. He did not tell everyone in Yaoang Valley. This formation, in addition to being a trapping formation and a confusing formation, is also a swallowing formation. Swallow it. Any spiritual power emitted will be sucked away by the ancient trees here. Zuyun was not sure whether these spiritual powers would be used by the demon refining tower. But as long as you don't use it, it's not a problem. But, why did this demon moon forest suddenly form a connection with the demon refining tower? Will the demon saint set up a formation? Zuyun was puzzled and walked along the path where he had seen the demon refining tower outside the forest. But soon, a piece of cloth hanging on a tree branch attracted his attention. This is the fabric of Xianxia's protective clothing, but inside Xianxia's body is Tang Tiangang. Although Tang Tiangang is only at the stage of forming pills, he has entered the Tao through formations, and his attainments in the formations are probably unmatched by anyone. In other words, Tang Tiangang has been absorbed by the demon refining tower. But the question is, can they even absorb a person's Tao for their own use? It's scary to think about it. Zhu Feng obviously cannot do this. The demon devouring technique he practices is actually from the demon devouring sect of Yasha realm. As for the demon devouring sect, which does not have enough say in the Yasha realm, it can reflect the problem of the demon devouring technique. Then, it was the evil thoughts of the demon saint of the demon refining tower. In this case, does it mean that Zhu Feng has not been completely taken away? Zuyun felt slightly relieved, but also felt uncomfortable. He didn't know that this was because half of their blood each came from Zhu Rong. He can kill Zhu Feng, but he really doesn't want Zhu Feng to be seized by the demon saint's evil thoughts and die. It seems that Demon Saint's evil thoughts don't want to seize Zhu Feng's body for the time being. This is good news, so he has set up a formation to make people unable to enter or exit. It is obviously related to captivity. So, after he reaches a certain level, he wants to seize the body and wish the wind. Otherwise, why not reduce the size of the demon refining tower and deliberately stand it in the forest to attract others? Zuyun made a guess and guessed the evil thoughts of the demon saint to a close. At this time, Zhu Feng has completely become a puppet. He was on the 9th floor of the tower, practicing his skills out of boredom and had no idea what was going on in the outside world. Ever since he was scared by Zuyun and hid in, he had never thought about going out. I just want to continue to temper myself through the black water in the black pool. But he didn't know that not only was he unable to get out, but the water in the black pool would make him more vulnerable to the evil thoughts of the demon saint. And outside the demon refining tower, surrounded by a group of female cultivators, all of them are stunningly beautiful, and their strength is at least in the early stage of nascent soul. But at this time, they kept practicing, with a look of pain on their faces. On his body, streaks of black demonic spiritual energy continued to merge into the black energy outside the tower. Until, Zuyun arrived here. Seeing this scene, Zuyun didn't know what had happened and couldn't help but scream. "Seniors, I wish Yun is back." With the command, everyone's eyelids trembled, but no one opened their eyes. Zuyun was shocked and shouted again. "Seniors, Xiu'er is dead." As soon as these words came out, everyone opened their eyes almost at the same time. But when they opened their eyes, they spit out a bloody arrow one after another. The technique they were practicing was interrupted, and they also suffered the backlash from their own spiritual power. But because of this, Zuyun allowed them to successfully escape from the trap of this formation. "What did you say? Xiu'er is dead." Yu Tangzi suddenly ran towards Zuyun. But he started very quickly, but when he arrived in front of Zuyun, he collapsed to the ground. Just because, when she heard the news of Xiu'er's death, she screamed in anger and used her spiritual power. But Mo Lin will swallow all the scattered spiritual power at this time. As soon as Yu Tangzi's spiritual power surged to her feet, it was sucked away within a few steps. Naturally, she seemed to have lost all her strength. "Senior, Xiu'er is not dead." Zuyun quickly helped her up and said loudly not only to Yu Tangzi, but also to all the Yuaningqi present, "Xiu'er is not dead yet. You have fallen into the trap of this demon tower. This kid has made this move and can only kill you all." Senior wakes up. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Luo Yanran's face was extremely ugly, because she had just broken through the nascent soul stage and was the one with the lowest level among the people present. She quickly asked, "Zuyun, what's going on? Senior, why are you practicing the exercises? Did you find that your spiritual power keeps flowing out here?" Seeing everyone nodding, Zuyun said again, "So you want to practice exercises to restore spiritual power? This is a trap. Now the demon refining tower uses this formation to swallow spiritual power and use it for him. As long as you practice, the longer the time goes by, the more powerful the evil thoughts of the demon saint will be." As Zuyun said that, the faces of all the female cultivators turned pale. Unexpectedly, by playing it safe, they actually helped the demon refining tower. "Zuyun, luckily you're here. Now that I can't use my spiritual power, what should I do?" Although Yu Tangzi is well informed, he is at a loss at this moment and has no idea. "It doesn't matter." Zuyun glanced at the demon refining tower and said, "The demon refining tower may not be able to do this on its own, so it formed a formation with the demonic moon forest. As long as I break this formation, he will not be able to succeed. Zuyun, you, break the formation." Everyone looked at Zuyun in disbelief. They all believe that Zuyun understands the formation. But you are only in the elixir formation stage, and your attainments in formation path. Is it enough? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 736. Yes, I will break the formation. Looking at the suspicious looks of these people, Zuyun didn't bother to explain. In other words, there is no time to explain. If time were not too urgent, Zuyun might be able to sit down, slowly study these formation patterns, and then find a way to crack them. He needs to bring the people from Yaoang Valley here first and join them with the people from Yaluo Demon Sect. Returning along the original path, Zuyun quickly returned to the starting point. Unlike others who were at a loss, he was able to use the immortality technique, which allowed him to enter the Demon Moon Forest without any spiritual power being sucked away. Seniors, I have found someone from the Yaluo Demon section. Let's go there first and then talk. Zuyun's appearance made everyone in Yaoang Valley feel much more peaceful for some reason. The owner of the valley could not suppress a hint of joy on his face and said, "You are here. The formation in this ghost place is really scary." Zuyun raised his eyebrows and said, "Senior, did something happen?" "Not really. It's just that when we first arrived in this strange place, you told us not to use spiritual power, so we were a little worried," the Valley Master said truthfully. Zuyun smiled and picked up Xiu'er, who was still sleeping, and said, "It doesn't matter, I found a way to solve the problem. I will take you to the Demon Refining Tower first. The good news is that the Demon Refining Tower cannot forcefully suck it away now. Our spiritual power." "That's good," the Valley Master nodded, and everyone got up together and followed Zuyun deep into the Demon Moon Forest. At this time, they were really grasshoppers tied to a rope. If one person walked, the others would have to follow. After sending these people to the Demon Refining Tower, Zuyun briefly introduced both parties before placing Xiu'er in Yu Tangzi's hands. Seeing that Xiu'er was breathing steadily, Yu Tangzi couldn't help but sigh. "When I heard that Xiu'er was injured, it scared me." Zuyun smiled and said, "Thanks to the Valley Master's amazing medical skills, it didn't take long to save Xiu'er." The owner of the valley looked solemn and said to Yu Tangzi, "We in Yaoang Valley practice medicine. Saving lives and healing the wounded is also part of our practice. You don't need to be polite." Because of Xiu'er's relationship, although the two parties are one good and one evil, the atmosphere is extremely harmonious. This made Zuyun feel much more relaxed, so he casually said a few words and reached the other side of the Demon Refining Tower. "This formation is mysterious and mysterious. It's a pity that I don't have time to study it, and I won't let you keep it to harm living creatures and use the power for your benefit," Zhu Fu said to himself, and then took out a talisman from the ring. Formation Breaking Hammer. There are not many times it can be used. We must break this formation as soon as possible, otherwise we will not be able to cope with the subsequent methods of the Demon Refining Tower. Zuyun looked at the Demon Refining Tower with a deep look, then slammed the hammer on an ancient tree closest to the Demon Refining Tower. Bang! With a muffled sound, the ancient tree shook several times under the tremendous force. Black formations emerged from the roots of the ancient tree and went straight to the tree tops. There was only a crashing sound, and countless black leaves fell from above. Zuyun turned a blind eye to such strange scenes. His eyes were always on the formation pattern. Seeing that these formation patterns gradually faded away, and the black energy entangled in the Demon Refining Tower also weakened a bit, he knew that he was right. "Come again." Zuyun took the hammer and hit another ancient tree hard. Bang! 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 3 times in a row, it was the same situation, and the black energy faded faster. "It works. Look at me smashing all the trees in the Demon Moon Forest today." Zuyun muttered to himself and turned to look at the tree that was hit first. The leaves have fallen off, and they are very bare and ugly. The trunk is the eye of the formation, and those leaves may be the existence of the power of the formation. Tang Tiangong's formation is really powerful. Zhu Yun's eyes flashed, he stopped stopping, raised the formation breaking hammer and smashed the ancient tree next to it. The loud noises were heard all the time, and the nascent soul monks on this side of the demon refining tower were dumbfounded. Zhu Yun can really break the formation? How did they know that Zhu Yun was holding a talisman specially used to break formations, such as a formation breaking hammer? At this time, it was the 9th floor of the demon refining tower. The black ball in the altar suddenly burst into black light. Damn, you actually wanted to break my formation. At the most critical moment, the formation was broken. Is this kid specifically against me? The voice was filled with boundless anger. If Zhu Yun were here, he would definitely be even happier. Only this kind of anger can represent the demon saint's evil thoughts, but his strength is insufficient. And this kid? The black light of the black ball condensed into a ball, and gradually the outline of a face was revealed. His eyes faced Zhu Feng, who was practicing in the black pool without hearing his voice. The talent is too poor. After helping him so much, the nascent soul in the body is not yet stable. Waste. But if this formation is broken, there will be no way to strengthen it quickly. Only, trap all the monks outside the tower and imprison them in the tower, defeat them one by one, turn them into the power of the tower, and then cross into the black pool to help him cultivate. This is the only way. Otherwise, after the formation is broken, his kid will definitely take advantage of it. While scolding, Demon Saint Evil Thought quickly made a decision. Regardless of whether Zhu Jian was still practicing in the black pool, he controlled the bronze door of the demon refining tower to open. Call out. The endless suction force directly sucked more than 30 people in the Dan formation stage into the first floor of the demon refining tower. Not good. Zhu Yun, who was still breaking the formation, had already broken more than 100 trees, but he didn't expect that the demon refining tower would choose to absorb the nascent soul cultivator into it at this time. Something was wrong. Was it his own actions that really threatened the demon refining tower? Or was the demon refining tower preparing to fight back? Zhu Yun's mind sank. Although he was still swinging the hammer in his hand, he had already begun to think about the pros and cons. If it was the first reason, it meant that he had broken the formation and had really affected the subsequent plans of the demon refining tower, and the impact was huge. But if it was the second one, it would be difficult to deal with. Zhu Yun was used to making the worst plan when encountering problems. So, if it was a counterattack from the demon refining tower, how should he deal with it? After a moment, Zhu Yun decided to break into the demon refining tower to take a look. He had been to the tower several times and knew that although the demon refining tower was strong, it could not suppress the human race. In other words, if the demon refining tower wanted to fight back, it could only rely on Zhu Feng. Zhu Feng has not appeared yet, which means that Zhu Feng's threat is far from enough. The most important thing is that he is with those Yuanying stage. Even if Zhu Feng breaks through the Yuanying stage, what kind of storm can he cause? Thinking of this, Zhu Yun put away the broken array hammer without hesitation and rushed towards the bronze door of the demon refining tower. But just as he took a step, the voice of the yellow dragon tree came from his lower abdomen. Zhu Yun, stay. Old tree, what's wrong? Zhu Yun shuddered and stopped. These trees are not dead yet, maybe, let them come alive, it will be of great help to you to enter the demon refining tower. Not dead. Hearing these two words, Zhu Yun subconsciously looked at the first ancient tree that was hammered. I saw that the black leaves of this tree were all gone, and there was some vitality in it, as if there was a kind of lingering meaning. Use the wood spirit bead. The old tree reminded him hurriedly, and Zhu Yun suddenly woke up. As long as he moved his mind, a green light shot out from his lower abdomen. Just as it enveloped the tree, Huang Longshu said, there is also the ancestral tree. You can summon the ancestral tree and sit here. I think it will help these trees recover faster. Okay. Zuyun controlled the green light while penetrating his mind into the Dao glass mirror. With another green light, a mountain appeared outside the towering demon refining tower. Muling Holy Mountain. On the top of Muling Holy Mountain, there is the old ancestral tree. Zuyun? Where is this? The ancestral tree spoke, his voice was extremely deep. Ancestor tree, have you recovered? Zuyun was immediately happy. He hadn't contacted the ancestral tree for a long time. Ha ha ha, with the Xiren, I will recover faster. Do you want me to deal with the demon refining tower? The ancestral tree couldn't ignore the demon refining tower. No, Zuyun said loudly, this is the demon moon forest. Many trees are being used by the demon refining tower and are about to lose their vitality. I let you out because I want you to make these trees alive as much as possible. Is that all? The ancestor tree said easily, it's very simple. After the voice fell, the ancestor tree waved out countless branches, and each branch was placed on an ancient tree. Then green light surged along his branches. Das Han, don't hide it, Zuyun's job is not small. Don't worry, it's coming. The wood spirit Holy Mountain responded, and a grey light also appeared, sinking from the roots of the tree into the trunk, and the green light on the ancestor tree branches also suddenly rose. Zuyun, you have something to do first. Here, leave it to me, the old tree. Zuyun nodded, looking at the bronze door of the demon refining tower, full of determination. After a few breaths, he opened the bronze door and broke into the demon refining tower again. This time, his opponent is no longer Zhu Feng, but the evil thoughts of the demon saint. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 737. When Zuyun entered the tower, the people from Yaluo Demon Sect and Yaoang Valley also looked around with vigilance. Zuyun had told them not to use their spiritual power recklessly in the Demon Moon Forest. Now that they were sucked into the tower, they dared not to do so. Elder Yu, what should we do? The Valley Master could not help but look at Yu Tangzi. He knew the Demon Refining Tower relatively well, but he had never entered it. Moreover, after thousands of years of evolution, who knew what changes would happen in the Demon Refining Tower? The most important thing was, if they encountered danger at this time, how would they deal with it? Yu Tangzi put Jiu'er aside and said, since we are here, we should make peace with it. If the enemy does not move, I will not move. This tower is a world of its own, why not wait and see first? Wait. The Valley Master said softly, are you waiting for that kid Zuyun? We can only wait for him. As soon as these words came out, everyone's face suddenly became strange. Who could have imagined that more than 30 Yuanying stage people would pin their hopes on a Jindan stage person? It's a bit too incredible. Yes, if we disperse, we will inevitably be defeated one by one. According to what Zuyun said, the evil thoughts of the demon saint may not be fully formed, otherwise he would not need to set up an array to turn the demon moon forest into a dangerous place to swallow souls. The Valley Master also sat on the ground. After joining the people of Yaluo Demon Sect, the ropes on their bodies had been untied. Seeing that their leaders had all sat down, everyone no longer had any taboos and sat down one by one, forming a circle. Xiu'er was lying in the center of the circle. Everyone was bored and their eyes were fixed on Xiu'er. But they didn't know that the evil thoughts of the demon saint also had their eyes on Xiu'er. Among the many people, only this female cultivator is only in the Jindan stage, and she has no ability to move. It's just right to take action on her. Zhu Feng, this waste, is too slow. I hope that this Jindan stage can make his nascent soul completely stable, so that I can have the confidence to breathe when I encounter a crisis again. As long as I can take over the body, my chance will be great. At worst, I can start practicing again from the early stage of nascent soul. With the demon refining tower, those in Kunluntianwation. As the evil thought muttered to himself, black air slowly surged out from the black ball of the altar, and finally turned into a human form, standing by the black pool. If Zuyun was here, he would definitely be surprised. Because, this dark-skinned human form actually looks exactly like a Niao. Boy, if it weren't for the saint to return to the spirit world, why would you do such a thing? Humph. With a cold snort, the evil thought walked towards the light gate. At this time, outside the demon moon forest. Ting Feng, why are you following this master? Nangongyin looked grim, looking at his silent daughter, Nangong Ting Feng. Dad, my daughter. Nangong Ting Feng just opened her mouth, but was interrupted by Nangong Yin. Call the master. Master, I heard that Jiu'er was in trouble, and I want to go with you to rescue her. Nangong Ting Feng said with his head down. You. Nangong Yin frowned and said, if you are showing kindness for no reason, you are either a traitor or a thief. Are you thinking that the barrier between the two realms has been removed, and you want to use this matter to please this master, and then let this master show mercy so that you can go to find Feng'an and that waste? Nangong Ting Feng was shocked, she didn't expect that her little thoughts were seen through. But how could she dare to admit it? The sect master has misunderstood. Although Xiu'er is from the Yaluo demon sect, she has the blood of our Nangong family. Family blood, as a direct descendant of the Nangong family, I should save people. Het. Nangong Yin sneered, hearing you say that, should this sect master help you find Feng Qingyang? This made Nangong Ting Feng speechless. Put away your little thoughts, Nangong Ting Feng. I thought that letting you guard the border between the two regions would allow you to reflect, but you still played these tricks with the sect master. Do you really think that the sect master is old and can't use his brain? Ting Feng dare not. Faced with Nangong Yin's questioning, Nangong Ting Feng didn't dare to admit it, and immediately knelt on the ground and bowed his head. Your behavior makes me sick. From today on, you are no longer a member of my demon seal sect. You are no longer a member of my Nangong family. Get out. From now on, neither the Nangong family nor the demon seal sect will have anything to do with you. After saying that, Nangong Yin slapped Nangong Ting Feng out with a palm in the air. Beside him, several old men at the peak of the late nascent soul stage said nothing. Until Nangong Ting Feng was slapped off the cliff, the oldest old man said, Master, do you have any prejudice against Ting Feng? He called Nangong Yin the master of the family. That's because these are the direct descendants of the Nangong family, and they are also the generation of the supreme elders of the Demon Seal sect. They no longer ask about the affairs of the Demon Seal sect, but they cannot ignore the family affairs of the Nangong family. After Nangong Yin discovered through his secret method that Xiu'er was suddenly seriously injured, Nangong Yin was furious and wanted to rush to Yaluo City and directly slaughter the Yaluo demon sect. But under the persuasion of the great elders, Nangong Yin suppressed his anger and decided to come over to ask about the situation first. This time, he represented the Nangong family, not the Moyin sect. Because the demonic alliance has not announced its dissolution, and there are still a large number of righteous cultivators nascent souls wandering in Yusha realm. If they have evil intentions and take advantage of the battle between the two sects to fish in troubled waters, wouldn't it be that the relatives hate and the enemies are happy? When they arrived at Yaluo City, they learned that all the Yuanying stage of Yaluo demon sect had left the city long ago, so they hurried to this place. After getting close to a certain distance, they found that Xiu'er was actually in the Demon Moon Forest. Not only that, he could clearly feel that Xiu'er's injuries had stabilized and there was no longer any worry about her life, which made Nangong Yin feel a lot more relieved. Just as they were about to enter the Demon Moon Forest, Xiu'er's breath suddenly disappeared. Looking at the towering black tower, Nangongyan keenly guessed that this had a great relationship with the Black Tower. The back of the hand and the palm of the hand are all flesh. Why did the third uncle say that? Nangongyan's face actually showed a bitter smile. Master, you are. The third uncle was stunned. Tingfeng made a mistake back then, but she is still my daughter, and she is also the saint of our demon seal sect. The saint followed a righteous cultivator. If I don't punish her severely, how can I convince the public? If our demon seal sect is just a small demon sect, it would be fine. As one of the three major demon sects in Yusha realm, there are too many people staring at us and making fun of us. There was no one here, and Nangongyan actually said the idea that had been buried in his heart for countless years. But Patriarch, why did you expel her? Another old man stood up with a surprised look on his face. Second uncle, Xiu'er's breath has disappeared, and even my blood can't feel her location. This must be related to the Black Tower. On that day, the appearance of the Black Tower made the two demon kings flee in panic. It is conceivable how dangerous this Black Tower is. The younger generation of the Nangong family is not much. If Xiu'er gets into trouble, I will only have Tingfeng as my daughter. So that's it? A gleam flashed in the second uncle's eyes, and he said in a deep voice, Master, we old guys have no hope of becoming gods, but we can still contribute some strength to the Nangong family. You'd better not go into this Black Tower. The Nangong family needs a master, and the Demon Seal sect needs a master. No, Nangongyan shook his head and said, someone will come soon. Can we let them laugh at us? Who's coming? Several old men said in unison. Ha ha ha, brother Nangong, didn't you go back to your hometown? Why are you suddenly here again? Are you trying to find a treasure in this Black Tower? Another black-robed monk, followed by several Yuanying elders, came here. Humph, why should I, Nangongyan, explain my actions to you, Matai? Suddenly, the situation became tense. Nangongyan didn't even take the leader of the devouring demon sect seriously. How could the Yuanyings who came with Matai stand this? The slaps came to his face. Nangongyan, don't you think that you can take advantage of me, Matai, by bringing a few old guys from your family? Matai's face was naturally very ugly. He called him brother Nangong, but Nangongyan gave him such a look. Ha ha ha, Nangongyan laughed wildly, Matai, the older you are, the spicier you are, haven't you heard that? Matai was stunned, and then saw Nangongyan said fiercely, the arrogant are afraid of the stupid, and the stupid are afraid of the desperate. These old guys in my Nangong family have a short lifespan, and perhaps their spiritual power has begun to decline, but in terms of desperate, can you compare with them? At this time, the faces of the Yuanying stage behind Matai were also very ugly. Although they are also at the peak of the late Yuanying stage. But their lifespan can at least be lived for hundreds of years. If you fight these old guys desperately, you dare to fight? As a result, the momentum of the people in the devouring demon sect was much weaker. And this is one of Nangongyan's goals. He didn't know what the situation was in the demon refining tower, but after the momentum overwhelmed the opponent, he could threaten them in the tower to open the way in front. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzwan Xianxia. Chapter 738. Seeing Matai's expression, Nangongyan understood and knew that his goal was almost achieved, so he said lightly, Matai, I don't care where you go, but if you ruin my good deeds, don't blame me for being rude. Nangongyan, the road is wide, go your separate ways. Moulin is not the territory of your Moyin sect, let alone the territory of your Nangong family. I, Matai, am just here to find a disciple, and I don't want to have any disputes with you. As the leader of a sect, how could Matai not know that his momentum was already weak, but even a dead duck is still stubborn, let alone him? Ha ha ha, Nangongyan laughed loudly, said the word go to the elders behind him, and then turned around and entered the Moulin without looking at Matai and the others. Matai watched them go deep into the forest, and then said viciously, Nangongyin has been a little arrogant recently. Could it be that he thinks that with these old guys, he can dominate the Jade Tree realm? Behind him, a slightly younger late nascent soul came forward and said, Master, let him be arrogant. When you find Zhu Feng, with his talent, he will definitely be able to break through to the nascent soul stage within 100 years. By then, the Jade Tree realm will be the world of the devouring demon sect. Matai was disdainful and sneered, Jade Tree realm? You underestimate Zhu Feng's talent too much. I saw that kid's bones, but he is only more than 20. And the magic power in his body is mixed. I think he has experienced a lot of killings all the way through cultivation. This boy is cruel enough. As long as he is trained by this master, the entire mortal world will be the world of our devouring demon sect in the future. Mortal world. Everyone was shocked. Unexpectedly, the master's evaluation of Zhu Feng was so high. No wonder, after the master returned to the sect this time, he spent a piece of precious magic crystal to find Zhu Feng. After finding out that Zhu Feng finally disappeared in the Demon Moon Forest, they rushed over without stopping. But they didn't expect to run into Nangongyin. Master, what do you think the old man Nangongyin is doing here? One of them asked. Nangongyin has always been mysterious, otherwise how could he harm the Yaluo demon sect? Fortunately, the female cultivators of the Yaluo demon sect have good tempers. If it were any other sect, I'm afraid that the matter back then would not have been resolved. Matai said coldly, and then said, don't worry about them, business is important. Search the Demon Moon Forest first. If you still can't find Zhu Feng, he may be in the tower. After saying that, he looked up and saw that the black air outside the demon refining tower had long disappeared, so that everyone was not so afraid. At this time, in the tower, the evil thoughts have reached the first floor. He knew the location of Xiu'er and others, but in order to save the power in the tower, he didn't want to use force. It's best to cheat, but if you can't cheat, there's no way, you should use force. But facing more than 30 Yuanying stage, evil thought was not completely sure. This is why he turned into a human form. His original realm was a demon saint. Even if it was only evil thought, no one could feel that evil thought was a non-human body. This was also one of evil thought's trump cards for this action. He was not afraid that someone would recognize his true form. He even deliberately suppressed his cultivation, which was no different from the general Jindan stage. On the 9th floor, he already knew that Xiu'er was in a coma. A group of Yuanying couldn't wake her up, so he could completely confuse them by saving people, and bring Xiu'er to the 9th floor and give her to Zhu Feng to devour. Before leaving, he found that Zhu Feng had reached the most critical moment. As long as his Yuanying was stable, evil thought could take over his body. Not only could he retain the realm of Yuanying, but he could also use the magical powers of the demon saint. Even if the power was less than 1/10, it was more than enough to destroy these Yuanying. Because of this, evil thought would take the risk to meet these Yuanying. In contrast, Zhu Yun was not so lucky. He was not sucked in by the demon refining tower, but went in by himself. He would not appear in the same place as these people. In fact, he had no idea at all. But fortunately, he had Sango. Help me find where there are people. After summoning Sango, Zhu Yun immediately got straight to the point. Sango was very aggrieved, but there was nothing he could do. Seeing Zhu Yun's unfriendly expression, he sniffed his nose. Master, there is a smell, it seems that there are more than 30 people, but it is very faint. The distance is at least more than 1,000 miles away. So far. Zhu Yun frowned immediately. Since these people were absorbed by the demon refining tower, it means that the evil thoughts will take action. It is so far away. Can he still catch up? But whether he can make it or not, Zuyun must go as soon as possible. After asking Sango for the direction, Zuyun immediately used the thunder escape technique. In such an emergency, there is no need to save the chaos power. While Zuyun was on his way, Nangongyan brought a group of elders to the demon refining tower. This is it, Xiu'er was last seen here. Nangongyan looked at the demon refining tower with an ugly expression. The closer he got to the demon refining tower, the more he felt an unpredictable power. Even he, a late Yuanying peak, saw the incredible, which was enough to explain the danger. Master, don't think about it, it must be in this tower. These people had seen with their own eyes that the demon refining tower chased Lao Jin and Lao Ma into a mess, but when they thought about Xiu'er's safety, they should rush through it no matter how dangerous it was. Yes, Nangongyan nodded and said, Uncles, I want to ask you one last time. Once you enter this tower, you may never come back. Before he finished speaking, the second elder said loudly, Master, there is no need to say more. We old guys have already known our destiny. If we die in this mysterious tower, it will not be in vain. That's right, life and death are determined by fate, and wealth is determined by heaven. This is fate, no regrets. Nangong family motto, as long as there is a glimmer of hope for the clan members, they must not be abandoned or given up. Everyone spoke up, and Nangongyan laughed, yes, uncles are right. Then let's go to this mysterious black tower today. After that, he strode forward and pushed hard. The spiritual power surged, and when Nangongyan's palm touched the bronze door, a strange black mark suddenly appeared. However, the bronze door did not move at all. Instantly, the surroundings fell into a strange silence. Impossible, how could the head of the family not be able to push open a door? Everyone was extremely shocked. How did Xiu'er disappear nearby? Head of the family, let me try. The second elder stepped forward, first condensed a magic seal between his hands, and then pressed it. But the bronze door remained unmoved. Several people tried it one after another. But there was no change. Until Nangongyan suddenly remembered something, uncles, could this bronze door be pulled? Pull. A group of people, with strange faces, saw Nangongyan reach out and pull the bronze ring on the bronze door, without even spiritual power, and gently pulled it. Boom. With a muffled sound, the bronze door opened. Everyone. Let's go. Nangongyan was also speechless in his heart. He made such a big scene, but it turned out to be a big mistake. Everyone was speechless. Not long after they entered the demon refining tower one by one, Ma Tai also came here with his disciples. Master, we can't find anyone. I think Zhu Feng must have entered this tower. After Ma Tai accepted Zhu Feng as his disciple, he left a unique mark early. While the power of the magic crystal had not disappeared, they also found this place all the way. Yes, it's in this tower. I just don't know how Zhu Feng got in. Ma Tai's eyes flashed a trace of cruelty. If this master knows who is behind this, don't blame me for being rude. After saying that, he stepped forward and pulled the bronze door hard. The bronze door opened again. One layer, deep inside. The evil thoughts that were heading towards the focus of Yaoang Valley and Yaloo demon sect suddenly stopped, and a deep smile crossed the corner of his mouth. I didn't expect that there would be so many nascent souls coming when no one else came. He, since you're here, don't leave. Wait until I finish my big job and help that kid stabilize his nascent soul. After I take over his body, you will all become the power of my revival. After saying that, he raised his head and looked straight ahead. It was only a few dozen miles away from Xiu'er's location. At his speed, it would only take half an hour at most. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 739. Das Han, so many people have entered the tower again. I wonder how Zuyun is doing. After there was no one outside the tower, Zusha suddenly sighed and spoke. Zuyun is a lucky person. We don't need to meddle in his business. Das Han said calmly, leaving Zusha speechless. After a while, Zusha said, don't you have anything to say? Old tree, if you have the strength, why not save more trees? These trees are dying because of the magic array. If Zuyun can come out, maybe the trees you saved can help. Das Han rarely said a few more words, but the meaning of his words was very direct. Zusha didn't understand it. It's just that the two groups of people who came here one after another were at the lowest level of the nascent soul stage. Otherwise, Zusha would stop them from entering no matter what. Unfortunately, he and the holy mountain of wood spirit could not deal with any wave of people. The ancestor tree said faintly, you are right, with more trees, the forest will be alive. If there is any accident again, we can indeed help Zuyun. That's right, helping Zuyun is equivalent to helping myself. After this, Das Han stopped talking and wholeheartedly passed his power to the ancestor tree. And not long after, another figure appeared in front of the demon refining tower. There is no news of the breath, they all came here. In addition to my father and uncle, there are also people from the devouring demon sect. The person who came was Nangong Tingfeng. After she was thrown off the cliff by Nangong Yin and fell into the Peepa realm, she was unwilling and came back again. She didn't know Nangong Yin's intention, she just wanted to ask again in person whether he really drove her out of the Nangong family and the Demon Seal sect. She had decided that if she got a positive answer, she would definitely leave without looking back. Go find Feng and he, go find Feng Qingyang. However, take them into the 9 netherworlds, and use the methods I have found over the years to help them pass through the passage and reach the spirit world. However, when Nangong Tingfeng stood in front of the bronze door, Zusha spoke. Little girl, this is not a place you can come to, go back quickly. Who? Who is talking? Nangong Tingfeng was horrified. She was also in the nascent soul stage, and she was also called the Demon Lord. As a result, she didn't notice anyone around her. How could she not be shocked? You don't need to care who I am, Zusha pretended to be profound and said, dozens of nascent souls entered before. Do you think you can get things done by yourself? Leave quickly, while the formation of the Demon Moon Forest is already broken, you can still leave with your realm. The formation of the Demon Moon Forest. Nangong Tingfeng's brows tightened. She had been to this place several times, and except for occasionally encountering some monsters, she had never encountered any danger. Talking about the formation? Where did the formation come from? Who are you and why are you lying to me? For a moment, Nangong Tingfeng's face turned cold and he looked in the direction where the voice came from. It doesn't matter if you don't look, but when you look, you are immediately shocked. A low mountain that appeared at an unknown time, and a tree that has lived for an unknown number of years. She has been stationed outside the Demon Moon Forest for nearly 1,000 years. Although she has not been to the Demon Moon Forest many times, she knows that there has never been a mountain or such a tree here, even though she doesn't say that she knows everything about the terrain here. Tree Demon. Nangong Tingfeng's expression suddenly became extremely alert, and he gathered spiritual power in his hands and took out his own scroll. Hey, little girl, I'm not a tree demon. Old tree, I'm kindly reminding you, do you still want to fight with me? Xiaoshu was very depressed. There were many people before, and he didn't dare to speak, for fear that those demon cultivators would beat him up and fail to accomplish Zuyun's business. But in front of him, there is only one female cultivator. Although she is in the nascent soul stage, Xiaoshu thought he was still confident. He had been to the demon refining tower. Even though he didn't know what the demon refining tower was for, he knew that it would be bad if he went in. He also learned from Zuyun that the demon refining tower had absorbed many cultivators before, and he felt that too many people shouldn't go in. What if it was Zuyun's enemy, or was used by the demon refining tower? It was not a scene he wanted to see. But he didn't expect that the other party's posture was really scary. Old man, I told you to shut up and save these trees, but you didn't listen. At this time, Muling Shengshan couldn't help but say. Hearing this, Xiaoshu looked distressed and muttered, isn't this for Zuyun's sake? As a result, Nangong Tingfeng, who was startled by the sudden voice again, heard Zuyun's name again before he came to his senses, and couldn't help but exclaimed, Zuyun? Which Zuyun? Zuyun from Yejing. Huh? You little girl know Zuyun. Xiaoshu was surprised and said quickly. Is it strange to know Zuyun? Nangong Tingfeng heard something from the tone of the ancestor tree. Strange, of course it's strange. The ancestor tree shook its trunk and said, then tell me, what are you going to do in this tower? Do you know that this tower is very dangerous? Do you know that there is danger in this tower? Nangong Tingfeng couldn't help but shudder. I thought that my father only came in to find the seriously injured Xiu'er, and didn't think of anything else. Just now, I sensed the breath of the devouring demon sect, and I felt strange in my heart, and I was even more worried whether Xiu'er's injury was caused by the devouring demon sect. But now I heard the ancestor tree directly say that there is danger in the tower, so I naturally worry. Of course there is danger, Zushu said in a deep voice. This tower is called the Demon Refining Tower. Do you know why Zuyun asked me to stay here? It was to let me save the ancient trees here as much as possible to avoid these ancient trees have become the helpers of the Demon Refining Tower. Ancient tree. Only then did Nangong Tingfeng notice that the countless branches of the ancestral tree were spread out in all directions, connecting the crowns of the surrounding ancient trees. And after feeling it carefully, she discovered the pure wood spiritual power. The most important thing is that many ancient trees are extremely dark, and some ancient trees that have not regained their vitality have fallen leaves and returned to their roots, just like dead trees. What happened to these trees? Nangong Tingfeng was shocked again and couldn't help but ask. It's nothing, it's just that the tower spirit in the demon refining tower used it as the formation eye here. Array eye? Is there an array here? Nangong Tingfeng's expression finally changed. Demonic cultivators in the Yasha realm basically don't practice formations. And with the demon moon forest as the formation, I'm afraid this achievement would be shocking. So, go back to where you came from. Since you know Zuyun, I believe Zuyun doesn't want you to have an accident. Zusha spoke with sincerity and sincerity. He understood Zuyun and was very kind to his own people. No, no, I can't go back. Nangong Tingfeng came to his senses and immediately rejected Zushu, saying, I still have things to do, so I can't leave. But, thinking of the danger, the Nangong family must not know about it, so she must go in and tell them. But what? Little girl, stop talking nonsense. If you want to come in, I won't stop you. It's just that I've said all that needs to be said. If you have any questions, just ask me. I wish you the best, old tree. On the face of Yun, I will tell you everything I know, and I will tell you everything. Seeing that he could not persuade Nangong Tingfeng to retreat, Zushu had no choice but to retreat, thinking that since she knew Zuyun, maybe she could help Zuyun if she went in. Old Shu, Nangong Tingfeng put away his expression and said, I don't have any questions, I just want to know, do you know the purpose of the people from the devouring demon sect here? The devouring demon sect? They seem to have the same purpose as the previous batch of people who came in, they are all looking for someone, but they are looking for different people. Xiaoshu thought about it carefully and said. Are you looking for Zuyun? Nangong Tingfeng thought for a moment and asked subconsciously. Wait a minute, Zhu suddenly remembered when he heard Zhu Yun's name again and said in a deep voice, what they are looking for is Zhu Feng. Their surname is Zhu. Nangong Tingfeng quickly asked, Zhu Feng? What's the relationship with Zhu Yun? Ancestor's expression was extremely solemn, and he said, they are brothers, but it's a long story. Zhu Feng is the master of this tower. The crisis in this tower is all due to Zhu Feng. If Zhu Feng is killed, the crisis will be over. Remove. Ancestral Shu did not understand the demon refining tower at this time, and his concept of the demon refining tower was still the same as when he was trapped in it. But he didn't know how much change his words had brought to the demon refining tower. Blessing the wind. Nangong Tingfen murmured, then put away his gaze and said, Old Shu, I will go to Zhu Yun to understand the situation first, and we will talk about it then. See you later. After saying that, she turned her head decisively. No matter how dangerous it is in the tower, there are some things that she, Nangong Tingfen, should do. As for how to find Zhu Yun, she can definitely draw the soul mark left on the scroll. She opened the bronze door and strode into the tower. After the figure suddenly appeared, Nangong Tingfen immediately sensed Zhu Yun's position and ran towards Zhu Yun's direction without hesitation. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzwan Xianxia. Chapter 740. Someone is coming. At this time, where Yaluo demon sect, Yaoang Valley, and others gathered, Yu Tangzi suddenly raised his eyes and looked into the distance. When everyone heard the sound and looked around, they saw a figure, alone, running towards the side quickly. Elixir formation period. After seeing the human realm, everyone was puzzled again. Could it be that besides them, others were sucked into the demon refining tower? Be careful, it might be a tower spirit. At this time, the Valley Master suddenly reminded him. Among all the people present, he was the only one who knew relatively well about the demon refining tower, but that was all. It was also his first time entering the interior of the demon refining tower. Valley Master, are you talking about the weapon spirits in the demon refining tower? Yu Tangzi said in a deep voice, his face becoming a little solemn. I'm not sure, but there is indeed a tower spirit in the demon refining tower. If it's really a tower spirit, it won't be that easy to deal with. The Valley Master's words cheered up everyone present. Even though there is still some distance, you can guarantee that there is no danger? What should we do? Yu Tangzi also has no idea. They know how to kill people and they can also kill them painfully, but the purpose of Yaluo demon sect is not to kill an innocent person for no reason. If the wrong one is killed, it will have an impact on their cultivation. As for Yaoang Valley, it is about saving lives and healing the wounded. It is above saving and healing people, so naturally it will not act recklessly. Let's see, maybe we can get more information from him. If he just came in, maybe we can ask him about Zhu Yun's situation and whether he has completely broken the formation. The formation outside was what they were worried about. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so aggrieved, and in the nascent soul stage, I wouldn't dare to use even a trace of spiritual power. Everyone quickly came to a discussion. The person who came was the human form transformed by evil thoughts. Seniors, please be polite. An imperceptible sneer flashed across the corner of Evil Thought's mouth, looking polite and courteous, just like an ordinary junior meeting an elder. Boy, why are you here? The Valley Master took a step forward and said calmly, but in fact he was already on guard. Senior, I was training outside. I don't know why this tower sucked me into it. I found all the seniors gathered here, so I wanted to come over and see if there was a way to escape. Seniors, you are so powerful that I want to come and see you. He has broad knowledge, so I have the courage to come here. As he said that, he deliberately looked towards Xianxia and said in surprise, Hey, what happened to this fairy? Why is he unconscious here? Everyone squinted their eyes and heard evil thoughts. Seniors, this fairy seems to have a damaged spirit. I wonder if I can let the juniors take a look. As soon as Xiu'er was mentioned, everyone in the Yologo demon sect immediately became anxious. At this time, they asked the Valley Master from time to time when Xiu'er would wake up, but the Valley Master was not sure. And evil thoughts were originally the idea of attacking Xiu'er. This statement just opened a breakthrough for these two sects. Do you know medicine? Concern leads to chaos. Xianxia didn't see the clumsy performance of evil thoughts at all, and asked hurriedly. Know a little bit. Evil thought smiled confidently, he just needed to fool these people and take Xiu'er away. As for whether Xiu'er could wake up, he didn't care at all. But what evil thoughts didn't expect was that half of the people here were medical experts. Boy, don't talk nonsense. We in Yaoang Valley can't be sure when she will wake up. Can you? A nascent soul sage from Yaoang Valley stood up and said coldly. The owner of the valley had already cured Xiu'er and even used pure ambergris. Whether she can wake up or not depends on Xiu'er's fate. Yaoang Valley. Upon hearing these three words, evil thought suddenly tightened in my heart, and I suddenly looked at the valley masters. Then I breathed a sigh of relief, and said in my heart, I almost thought it was the Medicine King Valley in the spiritual world. This is just a valley in the mortal world. I think this Medicine King Valley is just a branch. How can you see my methods? Of course, our Medicine King Valley's medical skills are unparalleled in the world. Boy, have you never heard of it? Another person said with a bad look. If they hadn't seen Xianxia standing next to evil thought, they would most likely have taught her a lesson. You have never even heard of Yaoang Valley, how dare you say that you know medicine? Fellow Taoists, Xianxia said at this time, fellow Taoists of Yaoang Valley, you all said that Xiu'er has been cured. It's up to her to decide when she wakes up. To be honest with you, Xiu'er's identity is its special, it's very important. If you wake up as soon as possible, you'll be less troublesome. This can be regarded as giving Wanggu a face. Otherwise, if anyone is cured in Yaoang Valley and allowed to be seen by other juniors, he or she will have an attack. But despite this, the faces of everyone in Yaoang Valley still looked ugly. Thank you, senior. I will help this fairy take a look now. Evil Thought smiled happily, but he did not expect that his casual words would deceive everyone in the Yologo demon sect, and might even cause them to have a bad relationship. If they fight, it's best to fight in such a way that both sides suffer. In this case, he would never have a chance to take away the seriously injured nascent soul. So, he took a step forward, squatted next to Xiu'er, and put his hand on her in a dignified manner. Valley Master, this. On the Yaoang Valley side, a group of elders couldn't help it when they saw that the hand shape didn't look like someone taking a pulse. Unexpectedly, the Valley Master remained calm, waved his hands, shook his head, and signaled them not to make a sound. In fact, the Valley Master was the most rational person among the people in Yaoang Valley. He had already seen that evil thoughts definitely did not understand medicine. He had been to Dongsheng realm and visited countless monster tribes, so he had a certain understanding of the monster tribes' words and deeds. In addition, the Valley Master had already suspected that evil thoughts was the tower spirit, so he had been keeping an eye on it. However, he did not know what the tower spirit's purpose was and why it approached Xiu'er, so he did not take any action. In addition, if evil thoughts was disturbed at this time, it might cause them to conflict with the Yologo demon sect. I know, let's see. The Valley Master whispered. Originally, in evil thoughts' plan, after confirming that he could completely control Xiu'er, he could escape from here and return to the 9th floor to be swallowed by Zufeng. But plans could not keep up with changes, and his greed made evil thoughts deliberately choose to stay here for a while longer. With his demon saint's means, he could indeed create the illusion of waking Xiu'er up. In this way, there will be a chance to instigate a fight between the two parties. Senior, this situation is a bit complicated. Evil Thought pretended to withdraw his hand and deliberately said to Xianxia. Complicated, how complicated? Xianxia asked hurriedly. It's a long story. Logically speaking, the fairy's injury is fine, and her body has recovered to its best condition, but what? But her soul is damaged. If she wants to wake up on her own, it may be difficult. Evil Thought has his own thoughts. Knowing that Jiu has been treated by Yaoang Valley, he naturally knows that normal medicine will definitely not work. So, he talked about the soul. It is true that after the cultivator reaches the Jindan stage, he can cultivate the strength of the soul. But the understanding of the purple mansion must start from the Huashan stage. With the eyes of these mortal world cultivators, if I say something about the soul, how can they verify the truth? Humph, even if you are from Medicine King Valley, so what? You can't touch the medical knowledge of the soul before you reach the spirit world. Evil Thought was full of disdain. But he didn't know that the injury on the soul was actually completely solved after using pure ambergris. In the eyes of the Valley Master, Evil Thought had ulterior motives, so it must be the tower spirit. Since you want to pretend, then I will play along with you. The Tower Master was even more disdainful, and finally spoke, "Hey, boy, you can actually see that there is a problem with the soul." He pretended to be surprised, with one hand behind his back, but he pinched his own life spirit weapon, a silver needle. Although Evil Thought only revealed the cultivation of the Jindan period. But after confirming it, the Valley Master had to be extremely careful. This is the evil thought of the Demon Saint. I'm sorry to make you laugh. Seeing the Valley Master come out, Evil Thought was extremely proud, thinking that he had guessed it right, even if it was Medicine King Valley. So what? You were born in the mortal world, and your knowledge is just so-so. The medical skills that the kid learned are actually specifically about the soul, maybe Medicine King Valley doesn't touch on it. This seems plain, but it is actually to irritate the people of Medicine King Valley. As long as they attack him, Xianxia will naturally protect him. Then the two sides will definitely fight. And sure enough, as Evil Thoughts finished speaking, Xianxia frowned and took a step towards Evil Thoughts.